Um, Dana really hit it. You know, we have an opportunity to, as a company, as we grow, you know, we have 25 locations now to, you know, capture best practices, and best practices is a fancy word for, you know, policies and procedures, you know, how we do things, what's the best way to do things, and really share those around the company and in the form of training and development opportunities. You know, we're starting with our managers, but you know, this could easily evolve into training for any role in our company, from mechanics to dispatchers to behind the wheel trainers. That's the spirit of Go Riteway University. And, you know, going into 2021, we really just want to start being proactive again. You know, pre-COVID, we had actually hired this is nothing new, we had hired a best practices manager. You know, we were starting to do things, and then you guys know what happened. So, you know, we're having a bias for doing something and taking action. You know, we'll do this once or twice a month, but at a minimum once a month. And like Dana said, the topics will be prioritized based on what you tell us. And you'll only hear me this one time. After this, we'll have different presenters, different subject matter experts around the company who will present topics for our own development. You know, the other thing is, you know, then when we hire a new manager, I was looking around, I saw Todd on here. Todd is probably our newest manager in Marshall. You know, there'd be a bank of modules and training sessions that he could go online and actually view to get up to speed faster. So that is the spirit of intent of what we're doing. And, you know, we welcome your feedback at the end. You know, I'm going to try to treat the topic of leadership foundations, leadership fundamentals in an hour. Certainly, you can spend a lifetime on this topic. But, you know, I encourage all of you to, you know, take away what you can and put it to work for you. I need to advance my slide here. There we go. So what I'm going to cover today, you know, very simple. What is leadership? I'm going to talk a little bit about how leadership is learned, offer 10 leadership principles that have worked for me over my career. I'm going to talk about why leadership's important. And then we're going to talk about our leadership philosophy at Go Riteway. So what is leadership? A lot of times, you know, the words leadership and management are tossed around interchangeably, but they're really quite different. You know, resources are managed and people are led. You know, management is the planning for resources to maximize those resources, whether they're financial or equipment or human, and leadership is about interaction with people. So this would be a traditional definition of management: organizing, planning, controlling, directing resources. Everyone on this call does that to some degree in order to achieve some goals. You know, it's about systems, you know, budgets, key performance indicators, systems, information technology, all the operational things that make our business go and how we manage them. Leadership, on the other hand, is the art of interpersonally influencing people to give their best effort. Very different than management. It's very interpersonal in nature. You know, the toolbox for leaders looks a lot different. It's about being fair. It's about giving employees a voice. It's about an open door policy. It's about team building. It's about employee recognition. It's about our values. It's about the work environment. All of these human elements. You know, we all have people in our lives that have been leaders for us and have influenced us in ways. You know, the two that most come to mind for me on the left is Fred Smith. He's the founder and still chairman of Federal Express. I was fortunate to spend many years at the early part of my management career at FedEx, and learned a leadership philosophy and received a lot of great training on really people first leadership style, people first organization. So I attribute a lot. And on the right is my parents, of course, and they were leaders in their own right, and we're all leaders as parents. So a lot of times becoming a better leader at work can help us at home too. But my parents really taught me how to work hard, persevere, be nice, do your best, keep going. I attribute a lot of that to them. There's a lot of, if you've ever taken a management class, and I'm not going to get into the details of a lot of this, there's a lot of things that affect employee behavior. Some would say that as people, most people will act, primarily at their own self-interest. But there's also a big school of thought that in addition to their self-interest, people will act in ways to support the team. A lot of the Adam Smith stuff is the foundation of our country. And on the right, you can see, Maslow's hierarchy, if you ever had but people need their physiological needs met, safety and security. But then beyond that, and this is where we tend to live in the workplace, they want to feel like they're part of a team. They want to feel like they've accomplished something, and they want to feel good about their overall effort. So this is what, we're tasked with as managers, really influencing that behavior. And when we do that well, our people give discretionary effort. Discretionary effort is not something that can be supervised or demanded. It's what people choose to do on their own volition. And it's really key to the health of an organization that, people are going the extra mile to take care of a customer, to get an important detail right. They're very engaged in the workplace. And that's the job of all of us. Everybody on the call today has people who they're responsible for. So like it or not, all of us are paid, promoted, rewarded, demoted, fired, really based on what other people do. And we can't do every job. We're accountable for the whole result of our group, of our location, of our division, and in my case, for the company. And, so we have to influence behavior. We're accountable for every job and the results of the organization. Management responsibility is certainly not for everyone. So today, while management is important, I'm going to focus my talk on leadership. Before I do, I want to spend 2 minutes on something that's often widely debated. Can leadership be learned? Are leaders born or made? This is a big debate. Certainly, I don't think the stork delivers people ready to go for leadership responsibility. We learn a lot of things over our lifetime and have a lot of experience. Certainly there's, the answer is, leaders are mostly made. Certainly some personality traits are more desirable, but in my experience, I've seen leaders come in lots of different shapes and sizes. And, one of the biggest myths is the introversion versus extroversion. Everyone thinks, leaders are these crazy extroverts, super charismatic people. And that's really not the case. leadership is about trust relationships with your people. One of the biggest business books of our time is a book called Good to Great. And they talk about the most effective leaders actually being introverts, people who don't push themselves onto the stage. They're happy behind the scenes, facilitating the success of others. So, don't sell yourself short. The third bullet here. Also, respect the management profession. Management is a profession, and and there's a lot to learn. Sometimes when people are new in a management position, they think they have to know it all on the first day, and that's really not the case. I mean, you can learn over a whole career and still have a lot to learn. The important thing is to keep learning. Certainly experience as a teacher. You're going to learn through successes and failures as a manager and a leader, but to rely only on experience is a lazy approach. Leadership can be learned through applied application of simple principles, but you have to make it important. And if you do, you can have a lifetime rewarding career as a management professional. But it's really your responsibility and yours alone to attend to your personal development. This is a little model that I just kind of dreamed up here, and it's really how leadership habits are built. They don't happen by themselves. You have to make them happen. So the best approach is to take a leadership principle, and I'm going to share a lot of them with you today, and you start to practice it. It's a conscious step. For example, you may want to do a better job at recognizing people. So you do a deliberate plan. I'm going to recognize people here, 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 and here. You practice it, and then you debrief. How did that go? What was the result? How did those people feel? How much can I do? What should I keep doing? What should I stop doing? And then you repeat it. And it's a really virtuous cycle of building habits, just like any part of your life. Your performance as a leader is no different. So, some tips to accelerate your learning. Take ownership for your growth and development. I talked about that. One of the things that I did early in my career is I kept a leadership journal. I thought about my interactions, with my group, ways that they could go better, things that I could do to help my group and the people in my group. And I focused on it. I asked them for feedback. How am I doing? What can I do better? I debriefed with a mentor. That can sometimes be your boss. It can sometimes be a peer. It can be someone outside of the organization, but talk about it. And the final bullet here is take our employee engagement process very seriously all year round. It's the best tool we have in our company to help you build and grow as a leader. So with that, I'm going to share some principles. Hopefully this is being recorded, but if it's not, I'll make the deck available. And these are actually 10 leadership principles that I developed early in my career as an operations manager at FedEx. And I tried to practice on a monthly basis, and things that I journaled to help improve, my own leadership skills. And a lot of this is very fundamental. This is the list. I've limited it to 10, and I'm going to go through each one individually. The first one, which is really a precursor to taking responsibility for other people, is to have your own house in order. It's hard to be responsible for others if you're in a state of chaos in your own life. So, really the strongest managers and leaders do their best to take care of their health. They do their best to manage their mental outlook. Leaders need to be positive and optimistic. They can't be, people are looking them for hope for the future. So whatever you do to nurture your faith and your fellow man and your future, whether it's meditation or religion, good idea to make sure that, you're in a mentally good place. Managing your personal life. No one has a perfect personal life, but as much as your personal life is stable, you're going to be more effective at the office. And then I even include on here, manage your finances, really trying to make your finances unimportant so that it's not a part of your decision to be a manager and doesn't come into play, that you're 100% focused on people. So keeping, starting with your own house in order. Second one is setting the example. Seems really obvious, but it's the number one thing. When you become the boss, everybody's watching you. Everyone in your location, everyone in the organization that you're responsible, all eyes are on you. You're the leader of the band, per se. So from your appearance to your behavior, everything to what you emphasize, what's important to you. This could be an unlimited list, but you have to be the model of Go Riteway and the best aspects of Go Riteway to the group that you're leading. Your enthusiasm, how you treat people, how dependable and dedicated you are, how friendly you are. Being a safety champion. It's our number one core value. How much are you an example of being a safety champion? This list could be infinite, and you should always challenge yourself to be the best model you can be as a leader at Go Riteway. The next one I always put high on the list, and it's sometimes people think of leadership as talking a lot, and probably the most important aspect of leadership is listening, encouraging feedback, asking questions in your operation, asking people for their opinions, listening to them before talking, not judging, trying to keep an open mind, empathizing with someone's point of view and where they're coming from, showing respect for what they're saying by making a note, and following up on what they told you, summarizing what you heard, keeping yourself accessible, keeping your door open, trying not to talk over a desk, stand up, get to a place where you can really visit, follow up, explain when you can, and really trying to circulate. So really find ways to give your folks a voice, so that they're always comfortable talking to you about what they believe. That's really the lifeblood. Without that feedback, it's hard for you. Leadership is by definition situational. You might have a predominant leadership style, but how you approach different people that in your group should be different. It's part psychology, frankly, figuring out what makes people tick and what's important to them. Challenging yourself always to be as competent as you can be. And this can, never retire on the job, no matter where you are. Learn the positions that report to you. If you haven't done it yourself, go through the training, step in the chair for a while and really understand, learn the industry, learn about our competitors, learn about our customers, challenge yourself to improve your writing skills, to be a better writer in email, a more professional writer, learn computer skills. If you're not as familiar with Word and Excel that you need to be, do something to improve those skills. Learn your management skills, learn your speaking skills. The only way you improve your speaking skills is by putting yourself out there. No one is born with speaking skills. I mean, surveys say a lot of people would rather die than do public speaking. So But unfortunately, that can be part of your job to lead a group meeting. Learn time management. Wow, that's a huge one. You could spend a lot of time and keep learning, never stop learning. There should never be anything that you can't be better at, you know, and the key to your future success is committing yourself to learning. And it really isn't rocket science. With the internet, there's so many resources at your fingertips to help you on any of these topics and more. Keep people informed. This is a key place where I see managers fail. You know, they don't, you know, in your operation, you know, you are the face and the voice of the company. So you have to have a plan to communicate, you know, not only what's happening in someone's job or in your location, but what's happening in the company. Plan to hold regular team meetings. Prepare for those meetings. You know, there's nothing worse than someone showing up and not having a good agenda. When you're making changes in your operation or there's changes in the company, that's a big opportunity to over communicate. To really understand a message, people need to hear it five or 10 times. You know, give the big picture. Try to be face-to-face as much as possible. Email is the worst. The phone is the second worst, and face-to-face is the best. You know, I noticed that in our district relationships, our customer relationships. Hard to say during COVID, but, you know, important. You know, maintain your bulletin boards, keep them fresh, celebrate team wins, celebrate company wins. Ask your people what they want to know about. You know, that's the most transactional question on the employee engagement survey is my manager keeps me informed. You know, you get up in front of your group, what do you want to know that I'm not saying? And then they tell you what they want to know. You communicate throughout the year, and they'll respect that you listen to them and provided information. 6.1, simple enough, but you know we don't do it enough as managers. Set goals and appraise how individuals and the team is doing. You know, identifying a goal is the first step to achieving it, and so often we're running around with our heads chopped off, you know, not knowing what we want to accomplish. So have goals. You know, we're going into a process in this first quarter where we're gonna work hard to reset goals for 2021 that cascade up and down the company. And you know, it's the first step to you know, really having focus. Collaborate to set goals. You know, do it in conjunction with your team. Stretch yourself and others, cascade all goals so everyone's working toward the same thing. Encourage people, measure your results, recognize good results publicly, coach privately, you know, try to differentiate performance, and then, you know, pay, recognize, and reward people based on performance. You know, a big leadership area. Show individual consideration. This is huge. You know, you have employees reporting to work who all have different things going on in their personal life. And, you know, I can tell you that there's no perfect lives, no perfect families out there. You know, and people show up to work having just left that environment. So get to know your people, you know. Ask them how they're doing. Ask your shy people for their opinion. Sometimes the big mouths or the vocal people get all the attention, and some people don't get noticed enough. Empathize with someone's private life. You know, there's fewer better ways to establish a trust relationship than to help someone with a situation in their life that's going to help them get to work every day. You know, it's really win-win. And you know, as a manager, I know over my career, you know, for better or for worse, you can get intertwined into the personal lives of your employees. So really try to relate. Don't assume that something is trivial, just because it might be trivial for you, it might be very important to your employee. Help in an emergency. You know, if an employee's have an emergency, figure the emergency out first, and you know, worry about the job second. You know, fix pay problems promptly. I've seen managers over my career not fix pay problems immediately, and nothing will aggravate your employee more than messing up their pay. And if you do, they'll forgive you if you mess it up, if you get it fixed right away. Say please and thank you kind of goes without saying. Being kind, it's really our company philosophy. Allow people time off whenever you can. If you can figure it out. I've seen managers not allow time off just because, no, we can't do it. You know, if you can do it, do it, and champion a great workplace. You know, this is the type of employer we want to be. Second, or another one, you know, it is absolutely critical that as a manager, you are viewed as fair and consistent. You know, integrity is really the cornerstone of your credibility. And, you know, you can't turn your integrity on and off when you come to work. You have to live integrity in your personal life too, or you'll quickly be exposed. This third bullet I really like. You know, we're responsible for leading Switzerland workplaces. I call them Switzerland because Switzerland is the big neutral company in the world, and certainly our world is so divided nowadays. You know, as a manager, it's your job to make sure every one of your employees, no matter what their opinions and persuasions are, that we have a neutral and open workplace where they can do their job without feeling uncomfortable or some type of hostility in some way. So you're responsible for that. With 25 locations, you know, it can't be Bob. You know, it has, or your vice president. You set the tone. You know, if you lose that trust, it's in my experience, it's impossible to get back. You know, people have to trust your judgment and your sense of fairness. You know, don't prejudge situations or people. Talk to everybody. Don't play favorites. Don't sit at the water cooler with one person every day and ignore the rest. You know, people are watching. Balance work assignments, really, really important. You know, if there's extra hours, spread them out. Don't go to the same person. Find out who wants to work the extra hours and spread it out. Consistently enforce standards in the company. Don't have double standards. Support the organization. And then this 10th one, don't go out drinking. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to say, but unfortunately, I've had a lot of managers in my career get in big trouble because they go out with a subset of employees, they have a couple drinks, and they say things that they shouldn't say, and they put all of this above out the door, and they can never recover. It's fun. It's okay to go out if everyone in the whole location is invited to go out. Support the group. You know, all of us lead a team, a small team, big team. You know, you should be looking at ways that you can help the team succeed. You know, providing the team training, providing the team a good work environment, being present to support your team at difficult times, delegating, empower them without micromanaging, settling and resolving conflicts within the team, addressing non-performers. This is a big one. You know, I followed multiple managers at FedEx who were really nice people and they were liked, but the locations were not performing well, and it's because the manager didn't have the fortitude to address situations when they come up. So some bad employees were running the asylum, while the good employees who wanted to do a good job and who wanted to be part of a good team, they were all doing a slow burn. Celebrate team wins. Champion group concerns. What I mean by that is, if your team feels some way about something, let your boss know. Let Dana know. If I'm in your terminal and about, bend my ear about it. But, you can't let the concerns of your employees, die there. And, if we hear something from everybody, then it's a good chance, that it's something we need to act upon. Build esprit de corps, team spirit, have celebrations, and always use we. Nothing, it's a great word. And, when everything goes well for a leader, it'll be self-evident that the team did a good job. So the last one is, keep growing and learning. I talked about that. You have a great profession as a manager. It's a lifetime profession. It can be very intrinsically rewarding. And what I mean by that is, when you really have a connection with someone, whether it's in your group, it feels really good. It's life enhancing. The challenges can be a lifetime journey. Even the adversity is a good teacher. Network internally, talk to other managers. How do you do this? How do you do that? Network externally. How does this go in other organizations? Read, listen, and watch. There's so many books, so many podcasts, so many YouTube training videos, LinkedIn, on any topic that I've covered. And, I gave 10 principles and 10 sub-principles. So in a very short amount of time, I've shared 100 principles, and any one of those can be expanded on, very easily right on your computer. Be a lifetime student. And, and I'll finally say that one of the ironic things is, as you become more effective in the workplace, it's going to help you in your personal life, be a better friend, be a better spouse, or be a better parent. So why is this so important? I've talked about this in past meetings. Every day in our company, we have thousands, I call them moments of truth, situations every day, thousands every day, where our employees interact with customers, they interact with other employees, and they interact with people in the communities we serve. And the number one factor that influences these moments of truth is how that employee is treated in the workplace. Certainly other things come into the equation, but the number one thing is how that employee is treated. We want them to give their full discretionary effort in all of these moments of truth. We do a good job of that as a company, and that's why we enjoy the reputation and the brand that we have. But the minute we stop focusing on that, all the interactions, once our people leave the building, how are they doing in these situations? We are in the public, we're in a service business, and it is so important, these behavioral connections that we have. I've shared this in the past. This is the inverted organization. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it has the customers at the top. The number one moment of truth all around our company is when our customer contact employees interact with that customer. That makes or breaks our company every day. I hear about the great interactions, and unfortunately I hear about some of the worst. But the number one thing in what we're talking about today, the number one influencer on how that employee does, is how that frontline manager leads them. That's why this is so critically important. The leadership factor, all of you, us, are the number one factor with how they behave. So your interaction with employees, is really the second most important moment of truth. That's why this isn't so important. And then our collective leadership behavior and how that influences the behavior and actions of our employees, that becomes our culture. It becomes the personality of our organization. That's why I would put all the time that into putting something like this together for you, because it's that important. Our collective performance is what we are, and you can't hide from what you are. We'll behave, and then our employees will define who we are every day. It's happening whether we intended to or not. So, my suggestion is that we be intentional and thoughtful about what we do. I shared this book with our executive team recently, and I highly recommend it. It's called The Advantage, and Patrick Lencioni, and it talks about a lot of these things. And it talks about really organizational health being the invisible hand, the ever influential force in our company, and it's really more important than everything. It's the foundation. So, our philosophy at Go Riteway, which germinates from the family, aligns with me, aligns with our exec team. Leadership and culture are always a big deal, but they're even a bigger deal in a company that's growing like we are. It's both a big risk and a big opportunity. If it's a big risk, if we can't keep a handle on the quality of our leaders across the company, we have a risk of imploding or having cultural things happen in parts of the company that don't align with what we want to be. It's also a big opportunity if we have a really strong leadership core that really executes on our philosophy. It allows us to continue to grow and create the career opportunities everybody's looking for. This is what it looks like. I did a big company town hall in December, and I talked about this. The philosophy is that people are our most important thing, and if we take care of them, they'll take care of our customers. And when the customers, happy customers, reward the company with their business, and that gives our owners the ability to financially reinvest in employees and reinvest in technology and vehicles and all the things that make our customers happy. So it's really a virtuous cycle that starts with people. Our aspirations are to be an employer of choice, not only for drivers, but for our managers and staff. We want to be the leading value-added passenger transportation company in all of our spaces. That is the number one thing that will allow us to keep growing. And we're very fortunate, that our owners reinvest back into the company, and that they have the ability to do it. It's really a special thing to be a part of. So that's the goal. And when we are an employer of choice, it creates tremendous competitive advantage. We saw that in Madison this year. We were up against other employers who felt we're falling short in a lot of these things. And when employees came to our organization, they were very pleasantly surprised by how they were treated and how we did things as a company. So it's not all fluff. It is the stuff of competitive advantage. So, being good leaders is the right thing to do, and it's the best thing for our business. What's at stake? And it's really our future, your future, the future of our employees. We do these things right. Certainly intrinsically, I talked about that. We can have great lifetime relationships. I got a call this morning from a FedEx manager who I used to work with, who followed me from FedEx over to Process Retail Group, and we're going to be friends for the rest of our life. It didn't start out that way. It started out with respect, but, you know, great relationships, very fulfilling. You know, it can be a great thing where you're aligned and you're having fun every day. And then the extrinsic awards, you know, when we're successful, we have job security. When we're successful, we can do pay raises. When we're successful, we can improve our benefit programs. We can provide professional development, promotions. You know, promotions become more possible when we're growing. So that's, you know, that's what's at stake. And, you know, hopefully I challenged you on a couple fronts. You know, as much as you can do leadership in 35 minutes, there you have it. You know, I'm happy, you know, we have some time, so I'm happy to explore anything deeper. And I thank you for tolerating me rambling. But you know, I'm gonna stop sharing, and if we want to have some conversation, that'll be great. Anyway, oh, there's the chat. I got to put on my spectacles. Oh, that's a thank you. Thank you. What, anything jump out at you in there? Anybody?
Hey, Bob, this is Veneer. First of all, this was very enlightening, and it was very encouraging. It just brought me back to refocus, and so it's just a comment more so. Thank you for taking our time to do this. This is really great.
My pleasure. Just pick something, anything on one of those slides, and try to change a habit. And you know, we all have strengths and weaknesses, and on the day I retire, I'll have strengths and weaknesses. You know, so you know, you just have to commit yourself to, you know, trying to always be better. I encourage the journal. If you know, a journal is a way to talk to yourself, you know, and can be very, very healthy. And what else? Comments. Come on, guys.
I would like to make a comment. I loved all the principles that you went through. I especially liked the one that said, you know, to encourage feedback and listen. I think oftentimes we are so quick to listen to hear, just to show what we're going through the motions of hearing what you're saying, instead of listening to understand and to really get a sense of that person. So I like that. And if you say to take one, that's certainly one that, you know, I would like to take for myself, especially in the role that I'm in, and all of us really, but the role that I'm in, to make sure that I'm listening to people and hearing what they're saying, and not just listening to respond, but listening to understand and, you know, help through that situation. So I appreciated all those tips. Great.
Yeah, I've told the story before. First time I was a new ops manager at FedEx, I got surveyed from that employee engagement survey, and you know, and in the first feedback meeting, I got bad feedback, or adverse or constructive feedbacks. You know, people saying, you know, Bob, it always seems like you're formulating your response before before you fully listen to me, and you know, and then you just swallow hard and say thank you, and you try to work on it, you know. So and that's a risk of all of us, because if you're in a manager position, it probably means you have some degree of self-confidence. So it's an easy trap to fall in, not to listen to and hear someone out. Good one, thank you.
Hey, Bob, I'm not sure if you addressed this, perhaps you did, but are you going to be sharing the slides, the presentation with everyone?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have those 10 principles in the leadership guide, but you know, I'll maybe add those 10 principles to the leadership guide, and certainly the deck will be available.
I love that idea because it's a lot of information, right? And I think the thing that we all are guilty of is been trying to do it all, right? We heard it and we liked it, and so we're going to do it all, but we're not effective that way. And so I love that idea of just picking one thing. I always say if you can get one thing out of a training, then it's been successful. So just pick that one thing and work on that for a little bit. I encourage you to maybe share that idea with your manager or share that idea with your team, right? This is something that you heard and you were a part of today, and it's something that you're going to work on. And then pick another thing in a few months, right? You don't have to accomplish all of that. It's not a checklist. It's just something for you to review on a continual basis. So yeah, if we could get that list with the bullet points below, would be fantastic.
It's probably impossible to be all those things. Sorry. You know, that's a big list, but you know, start somewhere. Other stuff. Anything, folks? Come on.
Well, I just wanted to share that it does work. I mean, currently serving as the operations manager here in Mequon, in addition to my other duties, I have made an effort to reach out to the more reserved, the shy drivers, those that maybe weren't part of the Mequon Brown Deer team right away. They were either adopted drivers from that Mary shared. So, you know, it just to help bring them around and make them feel included. It takes effort, but it really doesn't take that much effort if you just make it part of what you do daily. And then I've noticed, you know, other drivers are starting to welcome them also. So that's very rewarding. I think they were a little unsure at first if they were going to be good team members here or feel welcome here, but I think that's completely a non-issue now. So it does work, and it's really important so that you can retain all your team members.
Habits are really hard to change, you know. We all are who we are, you know, warts and all. So, you know, the only way to change is to consciously try, you know. So you know, and not have it be your New Year's resolution, you know. Make it part of your professional life. Yeah, I just see a suggestion from someone saying, you know, when someone's talking, taking notes is always a great way of respecting that person and what they're saying. Taking notes and paraphrasing back, you know, what they told you to make sure that you've understood and listened to them. Very good habit. We have 6 minutes. Oh, there's another chat. Yeah, it also helps to share with someone what you're working on. Absolutely. A peer, your boss, someone outside of the workplace that's a manager, somewhere else that you can have coffee with. Yeah, it is. It's a good thing. A lot of times it's your manager, but you know it could be a peer. It's very good to do that. Someone, I think I said in the slide, you know, debrief. Somehow you have to debrief. There has to be an after action. You know, when I was in the military for a couple of years, and the Army was very good at what they called after action reviews. After every leadership engagement or situation of significance, there was always a, post-mortem after action where everybody involved, and we've done it a few times. I see some heads nodding in our company. We've done it a few times since I've been here at Go Riteway. We get busy, and all of a sudden we're on to the next before we debrief and capture the learning points, going forward. So whenever you can do that and debrief, even for small things, but it helps you and your team grow and learn. Excellent point.
Hey, Bob.
Right.
Hey, Bob, before we leave, something that you mentioned regarding keep learning and keep growing. When you think about learning, despite the position that you in, you can never get to a point where learning stops. And sometimes in management, your employees can sometimes get intimidated if they see that you can't learn from them. And what helped me here at Elmbrook is that I include them in feedback, because sometimes they can help a manager, they can help anybody from their experience or their position. And from the routers, from my team have helped me so much to get where I'm at right now. So, and that also gives them encouragement that makes them feel good, that makes them feel appreciative, and that kind of put fire under them to keep going. So that spoke out to me. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Amen. I say that all the time that, as a manager, you don't have to have all the answers, and so sometimes the best approach is a humble approach where you're just trying, you just have to recognize the right answers when you hear them from somebody, and, give them the credit and go with it. It's, as the manager, you just want your operation to go well. Awesome. I'm going to hand it back to Dana to finish up. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you again, Bob, for that. Thank you, everyone, for your additional comments and feedback. And I thought it was really interesting, and it's been mentioned now a few times, the idea of feedback, right? So again, just putting in a plug for that evaluation that we're going to be sending out before the end of today here. Be honest with us. What did you like about this? What do you think we could do better going forward? And most importantly, what are the topics that you want to hear about? We're going to continue to spotlight other individuals from other terminals, from other parts of our organization, to really help you understand everything that's going on in our company. So looking forward to receiving that feedback. Thank you all for taking your time out of the day for our very first session of Go Riteway University. I can't wait for more of these. Hopefully I'll be sending out the link here shortly, and have a fabulous weekend, everyone.
Happy 2021. Have a great year.